Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Murder Most Misfortunate. So, let's actually see. So that's our handbag. Knife covered in blood. Uh-huh. Used to be a light source for the poor, now it's a light source for the rich. Okay, so that's... What's this? Oh, this is just a log of everything. Okay, cool. So now I at least know what that is. We'll go to the manor grounds, because that's next on the list. And it's raining, so this is unpleasant. So I wonder who's out here. I'm gonna guess Clops.
When I'd first arrived at the manor house, I thought it might rain that evening. And in light of recent events, I half expected a flash of lightning to provide an atmospheric backdrop to the stage of our little drama, complete with the clap of thunder as the applause.
Boom. There you go.
But the night air hung cold and still, and the only sound was the rustling of weeds and brush that clawed against the foundations of the
But what about the
building.
sound of rain?
Wait, rustling? But there isn't any wind. Who's that out there?
It's just me, Misfortune.
Told you.
I say, what in the world are you doing skulking about in the brush like that? Don't tell me they get you to do the groundskeeping around here too.
Sometimes I do a bit of gardening, yes. You know, when things get out of hand.
Gardening at a time like this?
Well, no, ma'am. Right now, I'm keeping an eye out for strangers. Just to keep everyone safe.
So, I'm just kind of curious. When, like, obviously, like it said, sometimes you get pieces of clues. But, so... I'm just trying to figure out, like, when you do that. Like, when you... Like, how do we know? How do I know when I have something that I can go back and... You know what I mean? Like... I guess I'm just trying to figure that out, but... Sorry.
What a relief. I do feel ever so much safer when a hulking man with an eye patch is lurking in the shadows right outside the house.
I mean, unless you have to go through all of it and then go back. Sure, we'll talk to him first. Finding the body.
So, you were in quite the tizzy when you came running to find me earlier. Was it you who found the body?
Yes, ma'am. I found it in the hall, just like you saw.
And what were you doing before that?
Well, I let the boss, the prince, into the hall to take his phone call. Then I went to the pantry to get more candles for the dining room. I didn't know how long Horatio was going to be with the lights.
So, the prince was alone then when you left him in the hall?
Yes, ma'am. Without a doubt.
Sorry. I have an itch under my headset. I had to take my hand away from my mouth.
Why then, it appears you may have been the last one to see the poor prince alive.
No, whoever murdered him did. Come on.
Wouldn't that actually have been the killer?
Haha!
Ma'am?
He's smarter than we are. Unless you are the killer.
I suppose so. But then, you did just say you were quite certain he was
Yes, but
alive.
Charisse also saw Clops go running in there, so I'm just saying.
What do you mean by that? I'm just doing my job here.
Oh yes, of course. I'm sure you're quite excellent at, well, whatever it is that valets do.
Oh.
That's right. In all this commotion, I'd almost forgotten the whole reason the prince left us was to take a phone call. Do you know who was calling?
No, ma'am, I don't.
Well, that's a little odd. They didn't give a name.
I asked, but they said the matter was confidential.
Uh-huh.
So you spoke to them then. Can you describe anything at all about
That
the
sounds pretty
call?
funny. Like, why wouldn't they be like, oh, I'm so-and-so, or this is so-and-so?
Yes,
A private
I took the
detective for
call,
some reason?
and they asked for the prince right away, which is a bit funny now that you mention it. I didn't think very many people would have this
Obviously
number.
someone he gave it to.
Anyway, pretty sure the caller was a woman. She's
Huh.
all crisp and businesslike, too. I'm afraid I can't tell you
A
more
lady.
than that.
I suppose it would be too much to hope that this rotting old place would have call display.
No, ma'am. It's a wonder most of the wiring around here even works at all.
Must be magic, I suppose. My dear Clops, please tell me you didn't really think there might still be a stranger lurking around here in the underbrush.
Well, ma'am, no one was watching the door when the prince was in the hall. Whoever did it could have run right out the front door.
Why, indeed they could have. Not much gets by you, it seems. And yet, here you are, searching through the weeds at the base of the house. With the coast clear, would our furtive stranger not just have kept going?
I'm sure he probably did. I'm just looking for footprints.
In the rain.
Oh, footprints now. Ah, yes, of course. And have you found any?
No.
It's raining, so no.
More's the pity. It would have been so much nicer to believe the killer was no longer in the house. Especially with our resident bodyguard busy traipsing through the muck outside.
Sorry, ma'am, but I'm just a valet.
Of course you are. Can you tell me anything about our late host? Perhaps about this grand announcement
I don't
of
know,
his?
ma'am. Blah, blah, blah.
About the boss? I mean, the prince?
Call him the boss.
Sorry, ma'am, but he wasn't the sort to confide in a mere valet like myself.
He's the boss. Oh, you know what he sounds like? The boss is a criminal. He's a criminal mastermind.
Oh, come now. I know how it is with servants. You're bound to have seen or heard a thing or two about the house, whether your master knows it or not.
We already know what the announcement was. I mean, come on. We have a...
I take my duties seriously. I make it a point not to see things that I'm not supposed to
We have a
see.
ring and a knife in our purse, for God's sakes. Come on. You can't put two and two together that he was going to propose to Charisse or something. Or maybe he was going to propose to someone else, and Charisse found out and stabbed him. Maybe he's in love with Leah.
Yes, I suppose not seeing things would be rather a specialty of yours. Tell me, have you worked for the prince for a long time?
Yes, ma'am. Many years now.
And you're still just a valet? Tisk tisk. Promotions must be hard to come by.
Well, not anymore. He's dead. Examine the grounds. The wolves.
There were stories from the time of the Revolutionary War that when soldiers first stormed the grounds of the Lee Manor, ferocious spectral beasts appeared out of nowhere to tear apart the terrified trespassers.
Pleasant.
Of course, you can't believe everything you hear. But I found myself keeping a watchful eye on the wolf statues in the courtyard, just to be sure. Klops claimed he had already checked the ground around the house for footprints, but I thought it couldn't hurt to double check. Apparently I thought wrong, though, for as I stepped off the path into the brush, the weeds and thorns tore at my skirts and scratched my ankles. You know, I think I'll just take the one-eyed brute's word for it after all.
Oh, whoops.
Klops claimed he had already checked. Apparently I thought wrong, though, for as I stepped off the path into the brush, the weeds and thorns tore at my skirts and scratched my ankles. You know,
I didn't realize that the brush was still all down there. Sorry. This is all still brush. Nope. Shed.
A rundown shed sat in the corner of the yard. Gingerly, I tried the door, but the wood had swollen, and it seemed stuck in its frame.
Huh.
It was just as well, I suppose. Ugh. Why would I want to go inside a moldy old shed anyway? Ugh.
Toothbrush. No. I guess that's it. Okay. There's nothing we can do, so we'll leave here. King bedroom is the next room we go to.
I returned to the king bedroom, where I'd been when the whole grisly affair started. I thought it might give me a chance to think by myself, but alas, it was not to be. The curtains were drawn back, and a particularly pernicious twerp of a girl was leaning halfway out the window. After what had already happened, it would be such a shame were she to slip and go out all the
Push.
way. Young girls these days really ought to be more careful.
Oh, because...
My dear little girl, just what are you doing? You're liable to go for quite the little tumble if you keep leaning out the window like that.
I'm trying to get a decent signal.
Oh, for your phone? Yes, it does seem like you young people just can't get by without them these days.
I don't care about the phone. I want network access.
Whatever for.
So I can hack the phone company records and figure out who called this house.
You can do that, can you?
Yep. Look, I hate people staring over my shoulder when I'm working. Can't you go find a fainting couch and a bottle of smelling salts or something?
Now, Miss Leah, was it? I'm afraid I just don't know very much about you. Who are you exactly?
I'm Sherry's friend.
I rather gathered that much. But, my dear girl, what with her enormous fortune, social connections, and nauseatingly innocent good looks, I'd imagine the list of people who'd like to be friends with Miss Charisse is rather long. What's special
Especially
about
because she's like dowdy little prairie girl, and you're like a freaking Spice Girl over here.
Fine. My parents were rich too. They're in the tech business. Sherry and I went to private school together. I helped her with math, she helped me be a better person. Fair trade, I hope.
You say were. Have your parents passed away
That's the murder
as well?
mystery.
No, we just don't get along too well right now.
Ah, and your dear old fabulously wealthy school friend took you in. How sweet of her.
Uh-huh, I see where you're going with this. And no, I'm not financially dependent on Charisse. Sure, I live with her, but I've got a nice little fund of my own. So I've got no motive to bump off a boyfriend out of fear that he'll kick me out of the house or something like that.
Oh my, perish the thought. I'd never dream of suggesting such a thing.
No, I'm sure you've got much nastier things to save for your dreams.
So your friend Miss Charisse, just how long had she been seeing our dear departed host?
Not that long, but he seemed pretty intense about it. Nighttime river cruises, the opera, the theater, you name it.
Ah, swept off her feet into a whirlwind romance with a dark and mysterious dashing older man. Your friend must have been positively giddy with excitement.
Why did he not fix up this mansion? Like, he has this huge place. Why did he not fix it up? A whirlwind romance with a little rich girl. That's
Something
suspicious.
like that, yeah.
Why? And he's going to propose to her and they haven't been dating long? He wants her money.
Oh, it must have been so hard for you, being left out of all that and resigned to watching from the sidelines.
He'd be dating you if you had money, I bet.
Yeah, right. That kind of high society stuff isn't really my thing.
No, I suppose not.
Come to think of it, Wizard Boy sometimes looked a little pouty at being left out, though.
Did he really? How do you know? Did he tell
Ooh,
you
I bet
so?
that because she brings up Wizard Boy, so we should go talk to him again.
No, nothing like that. Just an impression I got. Not really my business anyway. As long as Sherry's happy, I'm happy. That's all that matters.
I see. So, was she happy?
It was what she wanted. So yeah.
And try though you might, you just can't bring yourself to sound happy about that. My, how curious.
Look, if you're gonna pry any further, you'd better go get yourself a crowbar, don't you think?
So, your sweet little friend. She can be quite the tease, it seems. I was just talking to her earlier, and she let it drop that this wasn't her first murder case.
You must think you're very clever for worming that out of her. You know, I bet you're one of those people who think they're a lot smarter than they really are.
I am.
Aren't you?
My dear Leah, something like that is not exactly the wisest thing to say when you're perched precariously on the edge of a window. It's ever so fortunate that I'm in a good mood today.
A good mood. Here, now. How could... No, never mind. I forgot who I was talking to.
In any case, my dear, Miss Therese said the only other one here who was involved in that case was you. No matter how smart I might or might not think I am, surely you can't blame me for wondering whether it might be relevant to our current predicament.
Well, it's not. Not directly, anyway.
Aha, not directly. Now we're getting somewhere.
Look, I don't want to talk about it. And I'm sure Sherry said the same thing. It was bad. For everyone, but especially for her. The truth she learned that day, she's never going to forget. And she definitely doesn't need you dredging it all up.
She learned she was a killer, her family's shady past. Does it make a difference? I wonder.
Let me guess. All lightness and air
I don't
on
know.
the outside, but on that dark day, poor Charisse learned
I don't
just
know.
what she was
I just
capable
think
of.
she's a murderess.
And just what was that exactly?
Murder, of course.
Huh. Looks like I was right about you after all. I know.
But
What a shock.
You can't fool me, my dear. I can see it in those glassy, haunted eyes. Haunted by the realization that in her lurks the same devilish voice that whispers to all of us, tempting us to do terrible things. I'm right, aren't I?
No. Weren't you listening? I said I was right. About you. Not being too bright.
And here I could swear we already had this little talk about imprudent comments like that.
Bull, you're shooting in the dark and we both know it. Besides, Sherry would never kill anyone. Ever. Even someone who deserved it.
But you would.
Don't push your luck.
Oh, darling, believe me, I'll be fine. If there's one thing I do know all about, it's luck. So, who was it then that called the house?
If I tell you, will it get you to leave me alone?
My dear girl, this predicament affects all of us. If you found out anything that might be in the least helpful, surely it's in all of our interests for you to share it.
I'll take that as a yes. Fine. The number is 11223344. It's a business number registered to Oxley Accounting Services.
Huh. Phone number. We can call that now.
An accountant? Doesn't exactly sound like a social call.
Aha,
Now,
we have
does
to go
it?
back to the hall.
Who knows? As far as I can tell, this Prince Titanico had some pretty weird friends.
You haven't tried contacting them then?
No, that'd mean talking to more weirdos. I'd rather try and hack into their private email or something and see what's up.
I'll leave you to it, my dear.
Okay.
Had these books on the shelf belonged to the Lee family as well? A history of the
Okay,
Republic.
so that we've already seen that.
The elaborate carvings on the wooden bedposts
Okay.
intrigued me. Was this
Okay,
preferable?
so I'm assuming that's exactly the same, so I'm not even gonna bother.
Just what kind of skeletons did the Lee family have locked away inside that conspicuous old chest? I must confess, I have a terrible weakness for things that are locked up to keep me out of them. Alas, it's my brother Sir Price who's rather handy with the lockpicks.
My
Not me.
brother, surprise. Oh, that's just the bed. Oh, we already know about the chandelier.
For just the slightest of moments, I considered collapsing into the antique red chair in the room's corner. After all, we'd spent the
I wouldn't
evening
want to
on
touch
our
anything in
feet,
this place.
traipsing about the house for the prince's little ghost tour. Then I remembered that spiderwebs don't just come out of nowhere, and that upholstery is a prime place for the little nasties to hide. I would have to remember to warn our doe-eyed little angel about that as well. You know, in addition to the possible bloodstains and all.
We already know about the portrait. Okay, so... so... Let's go back to the main hall. Let's see if anything... Before we go up and call, let's see if there's anything new after talking to Leah. No.
I suppose I could dial a number.
Enter number 11223344.
Oxley Accounting Offices. That's what that Leah girl had said. Of course, she could have just been making it up to get rid of me. I'd certainly do the same to her. But...
It wouldn't take that long to die. It'd be like... doo-doo.
Oxley Accounting Offices, Oxley speaking. Are you a new or pre-existing client?
To tell you the truth, I'm not really sure.
I see. That doesn't bode well for the organizational state of your paperwork.
Actually, I'm calling on behalf of a friend.
In that case, please be advised then that I will only be able to answer the most basic of queries without certified written permission from your associate, or friend, as you
Because you call them. What a snotty little bitch.
Sadly, I fear my friend's signature would be difficult to obtain at the moment. But I think basic queries will do well enough for now. Now, Miss Oxley, was it? You sound like a very organized person. Can you tell me if you called this number earlier this evening?
Yes, I log all of my calls, both incoming and outgoing. And yes, I did call this number at 8:32 p.m. Sharp, of course.
Yes, 8:30. That sounds about right. Wait a minute. Isn't that rather late for an accounting office to still be open?
An 8-hour business day is standard in many sectors, but we take our work very seriously here at Oxley Accounting. Besides which, it was requested that I call at precisely that time.
Requested? How odd. Requested by whom?
In the absence of written consent, I am not authorized to provide that information.
Oh, of course you're not. How silly
Someone who
of
wanted to
me.
murder him?
Can you at least tell me if you spoke to anyone when you called?
Yes, the call was answered. I asked to speak with a particular individual and was told to wait.
And you did wait then?
For 4 minutes and 36 seconds, yes.
Yes.
And
Okay.
after such
Yes.
an oddly specific yet arbitrary amount of time, you hung up?
Certainly not. Someone picked up, I introduced myself again, and then they hung up.
How rude. To think anyone could hang up on such an obviously charming personality as yours. Might you happen to know a man called Prince Titanico?
I am familiar with that name, yes. In fact, I was hoping I might speak to him. Is he there?
I'm afraid that really won't be possible.
Very well. In that case, please inform him I will continue to try to contact him at regular intervals.
Oh, you can try. Can you tell me, was Prince Titanico a client of your office?
In the absence of written consent, I am
Okay,
not
Baba.
authorized.
But if you're trying to contact him, you must have some kind of business relation with him.
In the absence of written consent, I am not
Baba.
authorized to.
You can be just insufferably obstinate, can't you?
If by that you mean thoroughly professional, then yes.
Same thing, really. Miss Oxley, I'm not entirely sure how to tell you this, but Prince Titanico is dead.
I see. That will definitely have some ramifications for my paperwork.
Not only that, but it seems rather likely that he was killed precisely when he came to answer your phone call.
Noted. I suppose that explains why he hung up so abruptly and didn't call back.
Yes, didn't you find that a little bit odd at the time?
Not really. For certain types of business, it's quite common to encounter some reluctance on behalf of the other party.
Reluctance. Yeah. You're calling an accounting firm, or an accounting firm's calling you repeatedly, you broke, bitch. You ain't paying your bills. That's why you want to marry that girl.
But hang on. I thought the prince was your client. Why would he be reluctant to speak with his own accountant?
Accounting is not the only service we provide at our office. We also perform audits, credit checks, and financial investigations of various
Financial
sorts.
investigations.
Of course, now it makes sense. The prince was being
Oh.
audited, wasn't he?
In the absence
Okay.
of written consent,
It's quite all right, dearie. I can connect the dots myself. You've been ever so helpful. In spite of yourself, really.
you are welcome to log your opinion of our interaction on our office's website feedback form. Now, exactly who was I speaking with again?
Again?
Are you with the police?
Who's I speaking with again?
Ah, no. They're on their way. My name's Misfortune. I'm one of the guests.
I'm quite sure that name has been in my files before. Something to do with a possible inheritance tax irregularity from a deceased spouse? Let me check.
That won't be necessary. Besides, the wiring is a bit dodgy in this place. The phone could go out at any moment. Ta-ta then.
Okay, so, can't talk to her. I'm going to leave and we're going to go elsewhere. But I am going to wrap this part up here. And I will see you guys next time. We might pop back into the dining hall and see if we can, you know, what the little magician guy, Leah said something about him. So let's see if we can, find out what that is. But yeah, I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.